channel.
What it do, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Iron Rounds. And on today's episode, we are continuing on our tournament of Assassins or Hit Person tournament. And we were at the quarterly final, we were at the semifinals, and now we are officially on the finals. Okay? So, moving on from this point, it's going to be an interesting fight. You got Hary Hart from the Kingsman franchise films going against John Wick from the films in the franchise as well. So let's see who's going to win this. We usually do it differently here on this segment. We usually give you guys 3 rounds to determine who would win this completely in this fight. First round is range, second round is close up, and third round is get it done. So let's start things off with round 1, range. Let's start things off with Hary. Now, Hary's reflexes, agility is top tier level. Okay, and let's explain with those examples. The bar instance will be a perfect example all the time, no matter what. If you remember in the scene in the bar, he's got a whole bunch of guys, he has a shoulder behind them, or he's got his back turned and all that stuff, and then he manages to use a mug to precisely hit a guy in the head, and then uses the watch to tase a guy's wrist and all this stuff. There's so many elements where Hary Hart shows that he has incredible reflexes against certain weapons coming his direction. And the reason I bring this up is because obviously when someone is going to be able to have a range shot against you, there's a chance that someone who can dodge super fast could probably also dodge bullets coming his direction. And even if he can, he still has a bulletproof vest to help him, bulletproof suit, to help him get around that situation. So even if the reflexes don't completely save him, his suit will. Another time was the situation where Whiskey had the lasso locked, or had it on his neck, and he manages to release it out of his neck before he could tase him or fry him up with it. Again, speed, reflexes, agility right there shows that it would be impossible to get an exact shot on him. He's an incredibly impossible moving target. Another point I'll add to that is also that moment where Eggy is about to become ground beef with the tenderizer, or the ground machine is dragging him, and Hary manages to use Whiskey's gun to shoot a bullet right between the rope to release Eggy from the hold. That's impressive in itself, showing that Hary Hart does have the capability of range shots to probably put you down for the count. But there are 2 arguments. One is that Hary did lose a few steps. In the bar, he does get explained that, it's going to take some time, so he might not be fully intact when it comes to a fight like he used to be. And the second one is the moment when he lost Eggy's father while not paying attention to a terrorist having a hand grenade inside him somewhere in his pocket. So or hiding it somewhere in his possession. There are instances where Hary does show that he might not be able to get it done from far away. Talk about Wick. I mean, you could talk about the numerous amount of times Wick has shown he can really get it done in range shots. I mean, move the franchise, there's just a lot of examples. Blade throw and all this other great stuff. But I'm going to use the first movie as the best example of how Wick could get it done in range shots. Now, let's talk about the church safe house. If you recall, he sets a trap, gets the father to come and figure out what's going on in his in the safe house that is a church, or pretends to be a church. And at that moment, that's when Wick decides to throw gunfire in every direction and starts taking everybody out little by little. It wasn't until Wick gets hit by a car he's finally put down for the count. So you have to keep in mind, it wasn't somebody who shot him, it was a vehicle that had to put him down. But at the same time, he took a lot of guys down before he went down. And then there is the second example, which is when he actually gets his revenge on the son. You remember, there was all these guards far away and all range distance. He was heavily guarded, and Wick manages to use his skills to take out every one of these guys using a sniper, and even takes out a friend of the guy he's getting his revenge on. So Wick does show when it comes to precision long range shots, he could get it done if he needs to. That being said, you also do have to make the case that Wick has never faced someone like Hary. Hary's very unique, and taking someone like that isn't like going to be that easy to take for a clear shot. You're not going to get that clear shot when it comes to Hary. Hary's going to make it impossible for you to get a really clear precision shot when you want it. So range wise, there's still that disadvantage there. But ultimately, between the two, who would win? I'm going to give this one to John Wick. Given the fact that in the first movie, he pretty much just shows that he is capable of doing long shots and getting it done with a lot of kill body shots. It just shows that he's got a lot more experience when it comes to the range, or at least we got to get to see that in the film compared to Hary, which Hary only gets to show his impressive skills when it comes to agility and reflexes and fighting styles. But not a lot of range shots were shown, except when he's able to do like certain very unique skills and possible shots. Again though, John Wick just happens to show a lot more of a body count compared to Hary when it comes to range shots. So yeah, I'm gonna give this round to John Wick. Alright, round 2, close up. Let's talk about Hary. In the first, let's just put the example of the church scene. In the church scene, he gets a chance to show, now I don't even know if my collar looks good or not, anyways. In the church scene, he gets to show how well he can handle intense situations. And it was a real intense situation. Everybody was on mind control, everybody was on rage mode, and everybody was going ballistic, wild animal style. And Hary still manages throughout that whole fight, throughout that entire swarm of people, taking out bodies after bodies. It proves that he can improvise at a moment's notice with any weapons, not only his gadgets, but he also used other weapons during that time to take out a couple people's like sticks and like certain parts of the church he used to his advantage to put him down for the count. Even not even using the gun, but using the gun itself just to beat somebody, even a piece of the gun just to beat somebody down. The guy showed that he can do that. On top of that, he took so many beatings left and right, going back and forth with so many people and taking an explosion and all that stuff. So there is a lot to be said that Hary can handle a lot of intense, immense pressure in a situation. So when it comes to fighting someone like that, it would be impossible to say that it would be so easy to put Hary down for the count that way. That being said, you still have to make the case that in the sequel, Hary had his second time fighting at the bar, he got his butt kicked pretty badly. So yeah, there is still that. And also to make the other case is that the church people were average Joes. They were not trained, killed fighters. They were just angry, regular people. So you can make the case that it wasn't a professional he was facing off against. All right, now let's talk about Wick. There's just so many examples in every installment of the film where he just shows he's got this in a hand-to-hand combat. He knows how to disarm you. He knows how to use it against you. He knows how to jam something sharp into you. I mean, the guy shows it throughout the entire franchise. Pencil. Took a guy down with a pencil. But I'm going to use, I believe, the third installment to make my case. Now, why would I do that? Because there was just a multitude of moments where Wick had to use certain things to improvise, and also against so many different types of opponents. And so I'm just going to read the list because I'm not going to memorize it. Horseback riding fight. There was a fight in a blade shop. There was the motorcycle fight. There was the armored SWAT gear hitmen. And then there was the samurai hitmen. Yeah. So Wick, throughout the entire third installment, he was being chased by so many people. And he had to use so many things in his around him to survive. When he had no weapons, he had to use a horse to kick someone to death. When he was being chased on a motorcycle or horseback riding, he had to fight a bunch of people left and right and still get away. So Wick shows that environment-wise, fighting-wise, skills-wise, he can be put in any kind of situation and he will put you down. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what skill you possess. Wick will eventually put you down for the count. On the other hand, Wick has been put down before. Even though it might have taken him time to get back up, he still got put down. And I do believe someone like Hary isn't going to waste his time playing with Wick. He's really just going to try to get the gun or the bullets right into him before Wick can buy more time fighting him mano a mano. And so pretty much between the two, who would win this fight? I gotta give it more to Hary on this, because Hary's speed reflexes is a lot more incredible than John. John is incredible in himself. He's great when it comes to hand-in-hand combat. but he doesn't have the exact same type of speed Hary shows throughout the whole franchise. Even though it's exaggerated because it's a movie, it doesn't matter. The movie is showing that Hary is supposed to be like a superhuman kind of character because he's capable of reflexes and speed and being able to throw down with the best of them. So I do believe that Hary in a fight against someone like Wick, he might be too fast enough for Wick to be able to put him down completely. So there is that argument to be said. And on top of that, you also got to make the case that Hary's got some gadgets that are going to help him during a close-up fight against Wick compared to what Wick has in his arsenal. So I give this round to Hary Hart. Alright, round 3, get it done. Let's start with Hary. We got to bring back the gadgets because the gadgets are going to be a factor in this fight. So if you remember, there's like a moment where Hary's literally showing the arsenal room to Eggy, and he's explaining what this lighter can do and what this watch can do and what these glasses can do and all this other sort of neat stuff. But let's just explain some of the few gadgets that Hary does use throughout the movie. The watch is a perfect example of having a variety of weaponry in his hands and the tip of his wrist that he could use at any point to tase him, stun him, confuse him, maybe poison him at any point in time to end the fight completely and get the upper hand. He might even be able to numb one of his legs if he wanted to. There's just a multitudes of options when it comes to having a watch that does so many things. The other thing is also the umbrella. The umbrella also has a digital camera so he can see through it. So if Wick decides to use bullets, he wouldn't see that umbrella coming because it has a bunch of other weapons inside of it as well. Not only is it bulletproof, but also it has a couple of other weapons developed inside of it to be able to help Hary in a jam. So his gadgets just have a tad bit more of an advantage compared to Wick's. But you can make two arguments about the gadgets in that case though. There was an instance where Channing Tatum's character, I don't remember his name, manages to tase Eggy with his own watch. Okay, so there is that backfiring on you. And then there's that scene where Hary loses a few steps and is getting beaten by one of the guys at the bar while the umbrella is like open and be using it as a weapon himself to beat on Hary. So yeah, the gadgets do have backfire moments. Alright, so let's talk about Wick. Wick still has also a bulletproof suit to come to his aid, and it came in handy through a lot of situations, especially when it came to intense weapons being shot at him. He still managed to survive a lot. So the suit does have an advantage to it. Another thing is that Wick's guns are way more powerful. If you've seen the franchise, I'm going to give the example in the sequel. He's just finished with a job, he gets double crossed, and then he's taking out all these guys. He uses this really bad to the bone shotgun that just really puts a lot of people, he puts a hole through everybody using that shotgun. And he also has blades and all that other stuff. So Wick, in the underground realm in the world, he has these more deadlier weapons compared to Hary, who might be able to use certain weapons for lethal reasons. Doesn't compare to Wick's lethal weapons. That being said, you also have to keep in mind Wick doesn't have a lot of gadgets compared to Hary. Hary has way more that helps him in a jam compared to Wick's weapons. If he loses his weapons, it's over. Hary has just so many to his favor. But ultimately, between the two, who would win this fight? Both can handle very well with a gun. Marksman wise, they're both impressive with a gun. Both can fight and duke it out with the best. I mean, they both have impressive hand-to-hand combat skills. Okay, there's no questioning that for sure. But when it comes down to it, I think it's going to come down to pain tolerance and improvisation. Now, maybe Hary has improvised over the years or during the time in the church. I gotta say Wick improvises a tad bit more. And pain tolerance wise, you've seen Wick deal with more tolerance pain. I mean, he fell off a roof, he cut off his own finger, he fell through a solid glass floor and hit hard. He got stabbed a bunch of times, he got shot a bunch of times. I mean, he got choked out. I mean, there were more, even in the fourth one, it got worse for him. I think he was getting hung by one of his relatives or one of those people who was closest to him. Being hanged is no small joke, okay? So Wick has survived so many times, pain tolerance wise, so many things, and just keeps coming and coming and coming. When it comes to Hary, he didn't technically survive the first movie. He did get shot in the head by Samuel L. Jackson's character, and if it wasn't for the agency saving him, he would have been gone for the count completely. So, but when you compare to Wick, survived an entire franchise, four movies, which means he went through bodies after bodies. He went through hundreds and hundreds of people before he got put down for the count. Bringing back the gadget situation, Wick has improvised more with horses and pencils and even a really thick book to put someone out, compared to Hary, who uses mostly his gadgets to help him out. If those gadgets are run out of juice or are jammed or gets taken out of his hand or being used against him, Wick just has way more imagination to use to his favor compared to Hary. Hary might be quicker and faster reflexes, but John just has a lot more deadlier skill sets compared to Hary. He could put someone out probably without needing a weapon officially to do it, compared to Hary, who usually relies on gadgets to get certain things done. So I gotta say, given John Wick's pain tolerance, given John Wick's capability of fighting and duking it out with someone for a long period of time, I'm gonna say that he's got this round for the bag and it's moving on to the next round. But as always, no press fam, it's not gonna be up to me, it's gonna be up to you guys to decide on this. So if you guys liked my argument, you can go on TikTok and you can vote for Wick, and Wick will move on to the next round. But if you think Hary deserves to move on to the next round and you guys didn't like my argument, you can vote Hary and Hary will move on. And as always, no press fam, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.